Welcome to Stonewatch. This is my open spoiler discussion for Obi-Wan Kenobi parts 4 through 6. And if you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button and click on that bell so you can notify for future videos. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And yes, after watching the second half of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, I gotta say, this show is pretty damn good. Now, I'm not gonna say this is like my most favorite Star Wars TV show that they've done to date. The Mandalorian pretty much is still in my #1 slot, mainly because it's furthering on the story. Yes, I know it takes place before the sequels, but ever since Disney took over Lucasfilm back in 2012 and they said everything in the old EU is now Legends, it's wiped the slate clean. So this is actually furthering the story on, because The Mandalorian takes place 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. So it's further on the story that we don't know, because what we did know, Disney threw it all away. Right? Now, while I do think that Deborah Cho did an awesome job directing this series, I do have some issues with it. One mainly being, and you guessed it, the runtime. Out of 6 episodes, on average, they're about 30 minutes a piece. Only 2 episodes were like 45 minutes after you minus out the credits and the opening title sequence and the previous beforehand. Except for like the very first episode, it was like that whole montage was like almost 5 minutes long, but that was like a whole recap of everything that we saw in the prequels to kind of give us, show us where Obi-Wan and Anakin met and all that other stuff, which I thought was really cool. I liked that. I thought that was awesome. But that episode was listed at 52 minutes before you minus that out. Now, after you minus out that, in the end credits, you're left with about 45 minutes, maybe. And there were like a couple episodes in this series where it seemed like they were trying to save money because there were like effect shots that weren't there, the runtime, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, come on, man. I mean, when you compare this to shows like Stranger Things, which just dropped their season 4, now they're dropping it in 2 parts. Now, the first part, I believe they dropped like 7 episodes, which is one more than Obi-Wan. But on average, each episode was at least an hour. I heard like an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes most of the time. You know what I'm saying? So what's up with that? I mean, and I heard that it was pretty damn good. I haven't watched any of them, to be quite honest with you, but from what I've heard from people and what I've seen online, people are going nuts over it, right? And they're going to get their second volume here in a couple days or something like that. Only 2 episodes. 2 more episodes to finish off their 4th season. And the first one, I don't know, I think it was like episode 8 or something like that. But anyway, that one's an hour and a half. And the one after that to close out the season is like 2.5 hours. So if you add that up, just those 2 episodes alone, that is of longer runtime than the whole entire Obi-Wan series. Just 2 episodes. And I've been hearing like they're like non-stop, packed, story-filled episodes, right? I mean, I plan on maybe checking out that sometime soon, but from what I'm hearing so far and what I've seen online, what the hell, Lucasfilm? What the hell? And I also watched a show called Peaky Blinders. Now, I know it's not the same thing as Star Wars, but when you watch them shows, on average, their run times were like 55 minutes a piece. And when it says 55 minutes, they mean 55 minutes. The credits are not included on that runtime. And when that thing starts, from the second that episode starts, that show is going. The narrative for that episode is going. Now, granted, most of the time in the first couple minutes, it's like somebody walking or what have you. But however, the story is going from that first second when that episode starts. Now, don't get me wrong. This show with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen coming back to reprise their roles was so damn awesome. I mean, Jimmy Smits came back to reprise his role. He did an awesome job in this. I'm hoping he's going to be in the Andor series that we're going to get here at the end of August, which I'm totally looking forward to. 12 episodes. I'm just hoping it's not half-hour long episodes. You know what I'm saying? And now for a quick recap on what we saw in episodes 4 through 6. Now, in the 4th one, we have to do the rescue. Obi-Wan has to go break into the Inquisitor base over on the planet Nur, which we first see in the game Jedi Fallen Order. I haven't gotten that far in the game, so I never got to that part, but it was really cool to actually see this, and there was a lot of stuff from that game that they brought into this, except for the character from that show they did not bring into this series, but now it's being rumored Cal might actually get his own series on Disney Plus. We have to wait and see how that all plays out. But anyway, a lot of the stuff from that game made it into the 4th episode, which I was, for the most part, I liked it. I mean, everybody was complaining about when Obi-Wan and Leia were trying to sneak out with the big, huge trench coat, and they go, oh man, that's just, but he didn't make it anyway.
betraying everything you are. This was never who I was. Then you die.
I mean, was it kind of cheesy? Yes, it worked, but yet it didn't work. You know, I mean, I know it looked kind of ridiculous. I thought it was kind of funny, and I didn't really think much of it. So, I mean, some people will bitch about anything. You know what I mean? But anyway, the one thing about the fourth episode that kind of showed they were trying to save money for this series or something, maybe it's just me, is the fact that when the speeders show up to help them escape and everything, there was like racks of TIE fighters on the top of this thing and none of them take off. Not one. I thought that was kind of weird, you know, and this place doesn't have like some kind of air defense type system to where they didn't detect that ship coming in from hyperspace and all that jazz and launch a couple TIE fighters. I mean, it's standard Imperial procedure, right? So I thought that was kind of weird. I mean, they did get away, and then they set it up to where Reva was trying to get it to where she was trying to track them and everything. It didn't make any sense for the no TIE fighters taking off, on the fact that maybe they were trying to save money and not have any of them flying around. It was a lot cheaper to have them just hanging there. Maybe it's just me, a little nitpick on episode 4. Other than that, I liked it. I heard other people complaining about it. I thought that whole tomb thing at the bottom of the Inquisitor base was kind of interesting. I'd like to know more about that. And, you know, and I'm pretty sure there'll be tons of channels out there that's going to scowl over that. And they're going to say, oh, here's this guy and here's this guy. And I'm looking forward to watching those videos. You know what I'm saying? Now, we didn't get the flashback that I thought we would get in episode 4 when Reva was questioning Leia. I thought for sure Leia would say something or whatnot, and it would trigger a memory for Reva, and we would get a flashback about her in Order 66, but that didn't happen. All we got for the whole entire thing with between her and Leia was like, you gonna tell me where they are? No. How about now? No. All right, you gonna tell me where they are? No. I heard a lot of people bitching about that, how it kind of got old kind of fast, and it kind of did a little bit, but at the same time, it just showed that how strong-willed Leia is, and she's been like that ever since she was a kid, and just keeps on going right into the OT, right? And the sequels, of course. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the Reva character, but she's just, I don't know, maybe she's kind of interesting for the fact that she is like Order 66 survivor, but at the same time, I mean, they didn't really get me to want to know this character more. You know what I mean? And then when we go into episode 5, after they track Obi-Wan and all them back to the base on Jabib, which appears in Clone Wars, which was pretty damn cool to see that place kind of again. I mean, and when they go there, Obi-Wan talks to her, and we finally get to see the flashback of her in Order 66. Now, I thought that the kid we saw in the tomb in episode 4, I'm like, what if this kid is one of the kids in the group with Reva? Well, we find out in episode 5, no, that's not the case. They got all killed by Anakin himself. I thought that was something else. I mean, somebody was on, I think it was either Facebook or Twitter the other day, was saying, what about that scene in Rogue One when Vader's just going to town on them rebels? I'm like, what about that scene where we see Vader actually hacking down younglings? I mean, we actually see it. I mean, not like totally graphic, whatever, but we see like 2 different angles of him actually cutting down kids. I mean, they kind of hint at that in Revenge of the Sith.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
But they don't actually show it, but we actually saw it here in this show. I mean, I was like, oh my God. I mean, it was like the kid neck gets snapped, and then we see him actually hacking down kids. And then apparently he stabbed Reva, and somehow or another she survived, which that is got to really piss off Liam Neeson. You know what I'm saying? Because he got stabbed and he died. Darth Maul gets chopped in half. He survives. Reva gets stabbed and she survives. The Inquisitor earlier on in this series, he gets stabbed and he survives. But he doesn't die till Star Wars Rebels. But anyway, he survives being stabbed, right? All these characters are being stabbed, hacked in half, and they're making it. Liam Neeson gets stabbed in the stomach and that's it. And it kind of like, but anyway, I just thought that was kind of weird where she survived. And then apparently she ends up surviving twice, which I think that's how do you do that? That's something else. But maybe she got some kind of medical treatment that we did not see at the end of episode 5, you know? And I have to say that her tracking down Luke, you already knew that she wasn't going to do anything. I mean, I was joking on Twitter saying, hey, you think that Luke's going to survive the series? And I knew he's going to, but I heard somebody even floating it out there to begin with and like, what do you think? I'll go, I think that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. You already know he's going to make it. I mean, I was asking that question just to be a smart ass, but Now I thought that the lightsaber training duel that they had in episode 5 with Obi-Wan and Anakin was pretty cool. But the only thing is like, this is like only when they have this duel, it's like shortly before the events of Attack of the Clones, because, Anakin still has his both hands and everything. So this doesn't seem like the same. I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess like through the whole entire Clone Wars, Obi-Wan gets more battle hardened or what have you as far as like lightsaber dueling goes. Because like when they go to fight in Revenge of the Sith, it's nothing like this, right? I mean, it's just like, maybe it's just me. Let me just think about that in the comments down below. Is that like how they're trying to show that, he got that much better during the Clone Wars? I mean, I thought that this duel was actually pretty cool, but this is also another thing where that kind of shows that they were kind of trying to save some money, because like when Anakin is looking over the skyline of Coruscant there's really no air traffic whatsoever. Now, when we saw the prequels, there was air traffic all over the place. So that day there was nothing going on. I find that kind of weird. Right? Which is just like a small nitpick. I did like the Reva versus Darth Vader. Can you say really lightsaber duel? Because they didn't really fight with lightsabers all that much. I mean, Darth Vader was just pretty much toying with her till he got bored with it and he just ended it. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of like mirrored like her being stabbed by him the last time when he was just him in the temple, and it was kind of like the same thing. But I thought the fight was pretty cool. I loved how he was using the Force to kind of like stop the lightsaber, and then he was like, someone said something along the lines that he was using like Force Kung Fu. He would stop the lightsaber and then do like a flick of the hand and it push her to the side and everything. So that was kind of cool. And then he didn't even use his own lightsaber. Now, here's my one nitpick about the lightsaber duel between Reva and Darth Vader. When Darth Vader gets a hold of her lightsaber, he breaks it in half and throws her half of it, okay? And then they fight a little bit with the two halves of lightsabers and whatnot, and then he ends up getting a hold of both of the lightsabers, and then he stabs her with the one. Now, when she's laying on the ground and she goes to grab for it, it's back together again. How'd that happen? Right? It was in half. Nobody put it back together again. Is it kind of like magnetic or something? Because how did it was in half, and then when she went to go grab it, it was put back together again. How's that happen, right? I haven't heard one person bring that up. I'm just nitpicking a little bit because he broke it in half and used it as two. How did it get put back together? Maybe it's just me. Let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. And of course, we've got to talk about the Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan duel in episode 6 in this series, and that thing was just so damn awesome.
Have you come to destroy me, Obi-Wan?
I will do what I must.
Then you will die.
It was a pretty damn awesome duel. I have to say now, I hear some people are already claiming this is like the best lightsaber duel ever. It's up there. I mean, I did like that a lot. I thought there was a lot of cool stuff going on between using their lightsabers and the Force. I mean, it almost ranked right up there with the duel in Revenge of the Sith, which had a lot more going on than this one. But this was, don't get me wrong, I thought this one was awesome. Then somebody was saying about what the glow of the lightsabers in the dark, whatever, they can't fix it. What's there to fix? I thought it looked great. Maybe it's just me. I liked it. Now, got to bring this up. When Darth Vader actually gets Obi-Wan down in that hole in the ground that he created with the Force, that was pretty damn cool. But when he finally did that and he was like looking down, he didn't say it, but everybody was thinking about it. He could have claimed that, hey, I've got the high ground. He didn't say it, but we all thought it. And we all, hey, why aren't you saying it? Probably because we said, well, why aren't you saying it? So it was like too on the nose. So they didn't have him use that line, which we all thought it, because I've been hearing about it for the last week. And then Obi-Wan gets out of there, which I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, and then he ends up beating Darth Vader again. And he's sitting there like smashing the butt of his lightsaber on the control panel on his chest, like totally messing that all up and chopping off half of his helmet, and he had Vader dead to rights again. And he ends up walking away, which I know it's like the Jedi way. They don't kill the defenseless or something. I mean, he beats him twice and he ends up walking away, even though we know he's not going to do anything now because they got to fight again 9 years later on down the road, A New Hope, right? And that's where Obi-Wan dies. Spoilers. I don't know. I thought this second duel from this series was pretty cool. I mean, the first one was pretty cool, but that was pretty much all Vader was like dominating that fight on that one, right? But now Obi-Wan is not scared like he was in episode 3. So, I mean, it was awesome to watch. And then I have to say that when Obi-Wan made that trek all the way to Alderaan just to drop off that droid. I'm like, really? That's a long flight just to drop off a droid. But, I mean, it was cool.
Leia. When I said before that I didn't know your parents, Princess Leia Organa, you are wise, discerning, kind-hearted. These are qualities that came from your mother. But you're also passionate and fearless, forthright. And these are gifts from your father. Both were exceptional people.
Will I ever see you again?
Maybe. Someday. If you ever need help from a tired old man. But we must be careful. No one must know, or it could endanger us both.
It was really cool to see him with Leia and kind of tell her about her parents without actually saying the names, which I thought was, that's all I can tell you right now. But he was describing her, but she didn't ask about the names. However, it was still cool. And of course, we got the Force Ghost scene with Liam Neeson. So he was trying to pull a Andrew Garfield and saying, I don't know anything about it. I'm not going to be in it. And he finally does show up for a little small clip, which I thought was cool. I'm kind of glad they actually brought him into this because Qui-Gon Jinn is my favorite Jedi. He just is. I mean, it's really hard for me to explain, like, from all the stuff I read from him in the old EU and everything. He's my favorite Jedi of all time. And then Luke being really close second. So, but I was kind of glad to see him in this. I was kind of hoping to be a little bit more, but it made a lot of sense because at the beginning of the series, Obi-Wan was conflicted. He was trying, like, I was wondering when we first saw, like, the first 2 or 3 episodes when he was trying to get a hold of Qui-Gon and he wasn't really getting anywhere. I'm like, I wonder if he's actually done it. And then according to what we saw in this last episode, he wasn't getting anywhere because he wasn't focused. He wasn't centered. You know, he was like still hanging on what happened 10 years prior to. And that Qui-Gon pretty much says,
I was always here, Obi-Wan. You just were not ready to see. Come on. You've got a ways to go.
it was cool to see him again. And then when we see Vader back in his castle, he gets the HoloNet transmission from the Emperor himself. Ian McDiarmid shows up to reprise his role. That was pretty damn cool. I mean, I saw his panel at Star Wars Celebration, which was pretty damn cool. And like to see him come back and reprise his role, but I think he's probably going to show up in that Indoor series, right? I mean, it makes all a bunch of sense for him to do that, which I kind of hope he does. I like this series. I thought it was a lot of fun. There's rumors that they might do a season 2. They have like 9 years to play with, but how many more times can we get it to where Vader almost catches him and just misses him? Or they can't keep having a rematch over and over again before episode 4. They just, you know what I'm saying? Now there's rumors that they might end up doing a Reva spinoff series, which I'm like, okay. I mean, they left it wide open. Obviously, she's alive, right? So it's like, again, it's nothing against the actress personally or anything. It's just I did not find that character all that interesting. I thought it was interesting that she survived being stabbed and was a survivor of Order 66. She was there. I thought that was pretty interesting. But I don't know if I'm really compelled to watch any more of it. I mean, if they do it, I'll watch it. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't know. If they do it, I'll watch it. But right now, I'm not really all that excited about a Reva spin-off series. Maybe it's just me. Then I heard they're thinking about maybe doing a Darth Vader spin-off series with Hayden Christensen. Maybe. I mean he was, I don't know how often he was actually in the suit because there was a stunt guy and there was a performance actor too. So I don't really know how often Hayden Christensen was in the suit, you know. So I guess maybe you could do like the whole Mandalorian thing to having like 3 people playing the one character. Maybe. And we know we're going to see Jimmy Smith most likely in the Endor series. We're going to see, I bet you Darth Vader makes an appearance in the Endor series. I mean, he's got to. I mean, I'd be surprised if he's not, and we just haven't heard about it yet. We know we're going to see Hayden Christensen reprise his role as Darth Vader in the Ahsoka series next year. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a Force Ghost or if it's going to be flashbacks. It could be a combination of the both, right? We have to wait and see how that all plays out. We already know he's going to do that. I bet you they bring him in the Andor series. And they're just getting ready to shoot season 2 for Andor. So maybe they throw him in there now. Why they've got him. Why not, right? So at the end of the day, all I can say is I did like the Obi-Wan series. It's not my most favorite Star Wars series that they've done so far, but I did enjoy it. I kind of hope they do more, but if they don't, I'm okay with that too. I mean, we got Andor coming up here at the end of August, and then I just saw the date for the Bad Batch season 2 will be September 28th, which is pretty damn cool. Now that puts it like maybe that's something else, because that'll put it to where it's like maybe week 4 for Andor. So it's going to be those two series playing at the same time. That's pretty interesting. Pretty damn interesting, I have to say. So what did you think of the second half of the Obi-Wan series? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about this series as a whole compared to all the other Disney Plus shows we've gotten so far? Let me know in the comments down below. And what do you think of that last lightsaber duel between Vader and Obi-Wan? That was pretty damn cool, right? Again, I'm going to go back and watch this thing like over and over again because there was a lot of things about this series that I liked. There's some things about them going, really? Overall, I liked it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.